this is Erin from Sandpaper Road in the USA, and today I'm sharing a tutorial for two beautiful vintage style cards using the lovely When You Smile paper collection by Craft.o.clock. And this is a creative team project that I made for them. Look at that! It's got a happy birthday message inside and a place for a gift card. And I love the little window in the front of the card. And here is the second card. This one has a same style, but I made it just a little bit different, using some of the extras to cut, decorative cards, and a little envelope for a gift card. So beautiful and easy to make. Let me show you what I used to create this project. I used the lovely When You Smile paper collection. This is the 30 and 5 centimeter by 30 and 5 centimeter collection, new by Craft.o.clock. And let me just show you the papers that come in the collection before I get started. The collection comes with 6 sheets. So beautiful. And I also used several of the cardboard die cuts that coordinate with the collection. You can see they are a thick chipboard. They come apart very easily. And they're really great for your paper craft projects. I also use some of the 15 and 24 by 15 and 24 centimeter, and that's 6 by 6 inches. I use some of this paper collection as well. In this collection, you get 3 sheets of each design, and you get 18 sheets total in the pack. It's nice when you're making cards to use the smaller paper collection because the designs are scaled down. That is beautiful. Now, all of the links to the products will be available at the Craft.o.clock shop. If you live in the USA, you can check out the Sandpaper Road shop, and the links will be in the description below. I also use some of the envelopes, and there you can see the little fold pocket that I used. This is in the Junk Journal Extras to Cut set. It's a combination of one-sided and two-sided embellishments to cut. There is the brown envelope that I used for the gift card holder. Beautiful designs. I also used a few of the decorative cards. Now this is a one sheet, it's double-sided, and it makes it really easy for card making and other paper craft projects. I also used the fussy cut elements from the Leaves to Cut. This is Leaves 12. And I used the Flowers 24, other embellishments to cut, and you just fussy cut these elements out. These are the beautiful extras to cut that come as a coordinating sheet with the lovely When You Smile collection. Now there are 4 different colors here of these special occasions quotes. And when I started the project, I wasn't sure which color I wanted to use. But the quotes have English on one side and Polish on the other. and they're great for a variety of projects. I also use a small sheet of acetate or clear plastic. I'm going to cut one of the large sheets right in half to use as a card base. So I'll use half of the sheet for the card base and the other half I'll save for another project. I'm scoring this right in half at 15 2/4 centimeters or 6 inches. And this will give me a very, very easy to make card base. I'm going to do the same exact thing with another sheet of paper. Now I could use the same sheet and make 2 cards with the same design. But I wanted to use 2 different sheets so that I had 2 different designs. Sometimes it's hard to decide which design you want to use when the paper is so lovely. That looks really good. Very nice so far. Now I chose 2 of the decorative cards and I just need to make an outline. This is where we're going to cut the window. So I trace with a pencil, but the trace line is a little difficult to see. So I have a white pen and I'm going to trace the line again with my white pen. Now we're going to cut inside that tracing line. I'm using my paper trimmer, but you could also use a craft knife. We can save that cutout for another project. Now we're going to put the decorative card right in the window. I hold it down with my finger and draw little pencil marks so I know where to stick down the card. Now I can stick the card right in the pencil marks and erase the pencil. Next, I can take my sheet of clear plastic or transparent material, just make little marks. I want to make the marks big enough that I can use double-sided tape to tape this plastic to the card. Most of the clear plastic will cut easily in your paper trimmer. Now I'll just use double-sided tape around the edges of the window to stick down the plastic. We can cover up the edges with decorative paper later on. Very, very nice. That looks wonderful. We'll do the same thing on the second card. Now, before I stick down the decorative card, on the second greeting card, I'm going to make a little pocket for a gift card. And I want to make sure that the little envelope pocket is stuck down underneath the decorative card. So because I'm layering the two, I have to make sure that I glue down the envelope first. First, I'll glue the envelope together. While the glue is drying, I can use my pencil and mark where my decorative card will go. I want to make sure that the envelope doesn't stick out of the outside of the greeting card when it is closed. And I also want to make sure that the gift card will fit inside the envelope. When I'm happy with the way everything looks, then I can stick everything down. The only problem was I needed a few pieces of some cardboard. This is just some thin cardboard. Because I've got the envelope stuck to only part of that decorative card, it makes the surface uneven. So a thin piece of cardboard will do the trick to even out the surface. Then I can glue the whole thing down in one piece and it will stick evenly. Even though my other card is going to contain a gift card holder as well, that gift card holder is going to be a simple pocket. This one is a little more difficult because it's an envelope. But overall, both methods are really easy to do. That looks great. So now both of our cards have the window, and I need to work on the other card with the pocket. This is one of the pocket cutouts from the junk journal set. So I just fold it right on the lines . And then I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue and stick it down right next to the decorative card. I really like this look because it's the same design as the paper that I'm already using for the card base. So it blends in perfectly, even when the gift card is removed. That is perfect. I love it. It looks great. So now both cards are finished with the decorative card inside, the gift holder inside, and the window. So now we have to finish decorating the front of the card. And I'm using a piece from the 15 2/4 centimeters by 15 2/4 centimeters collection, which is the 6x6 collection. Now the tricky part here is figuring out where exactly to cut the hole in the paper that you're going to use for the front of the card. Now you can use a repositionable adhesive or a temporary adhesive if you have some. I know there are some in the shop that the link is listed below. I use that repositionable or temporary adhesive, and what I do is I hold the paper underneath the front of the card. Then the piece that I cut out of the front of the card, I reach underneath and stick it right there where I want the hole. I put a little temporary adhesive there to hold it. Then I can trace around that square and cut out a piece. The same way that I cut out the front. And now that temporary adhesive comes off, but I still have the pencil lines right where I want to cut. This time, I think I'm going to use scissors and a craft knife. And I'll show you why. Because this is going on the front of the card, I want to keep some of the design in place. I want to keep that girl and those flowers right where they are, but I want the hole to be cut out around them. This can be a little bit tricky. There's a different way to cut the hole in the front, and I'll show you on the second card. But for this card, I'm going to cut around these designs with my detail scissors. It takes a little bit of time. I really recommend using a tiny pair of scissors. These are the Tonic Tim Holtz detail scissors, the small 5-inch scissors, and I love them. With my craft knife, I get into the little details and remove that little part. And then I work around the flowers with my craft knife as well. It definitely takes a lot of patience if you want to do this method. But again, I'll show you a different way to cut the hole on the second card. I erase the pencil marks. And you'll see now this will go over the top. We needed to cut that hole exactly where the window was. That's what makes it tricky. I also need to trim off a little bit of the outside edge, and I want to ink the inside edge of the hole before I glue it down. If you decide to do something like ink, you've got to do that before you glue it down. Sometimes I use a piece of cardboard to cover up other parts of the design that I don't want ink. There I got a little bit of ink where I didn't want it. So instead of trying to fix it, I just added more ink everywhere. to blend it in. And now you can't even tell where I messed up. Plus, I actually think it looks good because it helps the girl to stand out. Now I'm going to cut a 1 2/7 centimeter strip off of 2 sides. This is 1/2 inch. I'll start with that measurement. After that, I'll see how it fits and go from there. I need just a little bit more off that side and across the bottom. Just a bit more. I think we'll do the 1 2/7 centimeter or 1/2 inch there off that side. And also off the bottom. Almost perfect. I just want a little bit more off one side. Just a bit. And again, a little bit more off the bottom. Just a bit. I think of the whole project, that was the trickiest part. Also, you'll notice that the flowers and the girl on this sheet that I left, that I cut outside, I didn't put any glue on them because they're going to show through the window on the inside of the card. See how they show through the window there? So no glue there. That looks really good. I like it. It looks very nice. Very good. We'll do the same thing on the second card with this piece of paper, except what I'm going to do different is I'm just going to cut the square out of the middle. It's really tricky to use detail scissors on an inside piece of paper. So here I'm just going to cut the square. Some of you might find this easier to do. It looks just as beautiful. You could still get creative with your detail scissors, because what I'm going to do here is I am going to cut around the outside of the printed paper. It won't be difficult, and I can take my time. I'm using a little ink first on the inside. Now here's where I'll cut around the outside of the image that I want to keep. This takes a little bit of time, but it's really easy to do, and I can take my time. This looks really good. I love that. That is beautiful. Now, because I don't have any parts hanging through the window, I can put glue on this whole little frame that I made. That looks amazing. This is why using some of that smaller pattern paper, that 15 2/4 centimeter square or that 6-inch square pack is important, because the images are to scale. We could never use the big paper and create a frame like this. Now see how we have that little outline around the window there? We're going to use opposite paper for each of the two cards, and we're going to cut small strips, just little strips. They're so small, I don't even have a measurement. Just make them all the same. Just small strips. See, just small, little tiny strips. And we're going to make a little frame piece by piece around the outside of the window, and we'll do the same thing on the inside of the window. I'll show you how I do it once, and then you'll know how to do it for all of the 4 sides, outside and inside of the window of both cards. And see how I'm using the brown paper to make the frame on the blue card? And I'll do the opposite on the other card. I'll use the blue paper to make a blue frame on the brown card. Now this is just really simple, just gluing down the strips. Even though the corners will look a little messy, we're going to cover up the corners in the next step. Don't glue directly onto the window. You want to glue onto the paper. Okay, so there's the frame. It looks a lot better like that, doesn't it? Now, remember this piece we cut out? These are our cutout pieces. Remember where we put the window? I have a little square punch. And I'm going to cut a square, trim it into 2 triangles, and then those will be my photo corners. I'll even show you a fun trick for how to make your photo corners look really good. You can hold 2 corners together and cut a little notch in the middle, and that gives it a little vintage touch. Let me show you up close. You just cut a little piece out, and then you have 2 little vintage looking photo corners. That little photo notch, that little triangle notch in the middle there, really gives it a nice touch. That looks amazing. Really good. We'll do the same thing on the inside with some strips. We'll use the blue on the inside to match the blue of the card, and we'll use the photo corners in the same way. Now I have both cards finished with all of the corners done. And I'm going to start to decorate. Now that my cards are almost done, I can see very clearly which set of quotes will look best to me. The special occasions quotes come in the 4 colors. They all say the same thing. They have English on one side and Polish on the other. And you can just choose which color works best for your project. I had a really hard time deciding. Finally, I made a decision, and I chose some of the embellishments from the extras to cut, and the flowers, and the leaves. I found another one of the girls, and I'm going to put her right on the front. I thought that looked so good, especially because this one girl has some flowers on the bottom of her dress. So when I cut off the bottom, the flowers will still be there. It's so perfect. I love it. I have a piece of foam, and I'm just using a metal stylus stick to press gently down onto the paper flower. It just gives it a little bit of dimension. Then with a little hot glue, I could stick it down, and the flower sticks up just ever so slightly on all the sides. Now on one of the cards, I'm going to stick the happy birthday quote inside the card. This way you see happy birthday through the window. And then you open it up and you'll see the happy birthday with the gift card inside. That looks really good. It just needed a little bit more, so of course I had to add a few more flowers and leaves. I also like that the extras come in a lot of different sizes. You saw I had this same blue leaf design in a larger size, but the smaller size works better for this card. That just looks perfect. For the second card, I'm using a few of the cardboard cutouts here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the happy birthday sentiment to the front of one of the cardboard die cuts. And on this card, I'll place the happy birthday sentiment on the outside of the card. Doesn't that look good? And it will give it a little bit of dimension. I'll just let it dry for a few minutes. If you don't have the metal stylus stick, you could also use a pen or a pencil or anything that can push gently into a piece of foam to give your extras a little bit of life. Here's another cardboard die cut. Just a little liquid glue does fine. This is a look at the first card. And here's a final look at both of the cards. Thank you so much for stopping by and for tuning in. You can check out the links below to where you can purchase these craft.o.clock products. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.